A flight attendant's assumption leads to an unforgettable lesson. The first-class cabin buzzed with soft murmurs as passengers settled into their plush seats, adjusting their belongings and preparing for the flight. A flight attendant, confident and authoritative, moved with purpose through the aisle until she stopped abruptly in front of a young boy. Her expression was unreadable. "You need to move. This seat isn't for you," she said firmly. The boy clutched his ticket tightly. "But this is my seat." Her lips pressed into a thin line. "I don't think so." Nearby passengers exchanged glances, some whispering, others choosing silence. No one spoke up. No one questioned her. What they didn't know, what no one in that cabin knew, was that this boy wasn't just any passenger. And by the time this plane landed, the flight attendant would regret the assumptions she had made today. Welcome to Inspiring Real Stories, where we bring you thought-provoking narratives that make you reflect and see the world from a new perspective. If you enjoy meaningful stories with powerful lessons, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss our latest content. Now back to the flight, because what happens next will change everything. The boy sat in his seat, his hands resting on the armrests, gazing out the window. This was his first time flying alone, a reward from his father for his outstanding performance in school. It wasn't just about luxury. It was about what he had earned. For a moment, everything felt perfect. Then came the voice. "Excuse me, young man." The flight attendant loomed over him, her name tag catching the cabin lights. Her posture was rigid, her tone firm but not yet hostile. "Are you sure you're in the right seat?" she asked. The boy reached into his hoodie pocket and pulled out his ticket. "Yes, ma'am. Seat 3B. She barely glanced at it before shaking her head. "This is a first-class seat." "I know," he replied, sitting up straighter. Her eyes narrowed. "Where are your parents?" His stomach tightened. "I'm traveling alone." She exhaled sharply, her patience visibly thinning. There must have been a mistake. "This seat is reserved for first-class passengers only." A hush fell over the surrounding rows. Some passengers looked up, others avoided eye contact. "But this is my seat," the boy insisted, gripping his ticket tighter. The flight attendant forced a stiff smile. "There's been a misunderstanding. You need to take your things and move to economy." Heat crept up his neck. He wasn't being difficult. He wasn't causing trouble. He had proof that he belonged here. But every passing second made it harder to fight back. The unspoken judgment in the air was suffocating. Slowly, reluctantly, he reached for his backpack, stood up, and stepped into the aisle. His legs felt unsteady. The flight attendant didn't offer to help. She simply gestured toward the back of the plane. As he walked past row after row of first-class passengers who had seen everything, some lowered their eyes, others shifted uncomfortably. No one said a word. He sank into an empty seat in economy. The space was smaller, the air felt different. He pulled out his phone. "They made me move to the back. Said I couldn't sit in first class. I had my ticket." She didn't believe me. The reply came almost instantly. "What do you mean they made you move?" "Who made you move?" "The flight attendant." She said there was a mistake. She wouldn't listen. A long pause. Then, "What's the flight number?" His fingers trembled slightly as he typed it out and hit send. A moment later, another message arrived. "Stay where you are. I'll handle it." He exhaled. He didn't know what his father meant, but something about those words told him this wasn't over. Underscore. At the front of the plane, the flight attendant, Ms. Parker, returned to the galley with a self-satisfied expression. Another problem solved. A younger attendant, Sarah, hesitated as she set down a tray of glasses. "Was there an issue with his ticket?" Sarah asked cautiously. Ms. Parker scoffed. "Please. You saw him. Do you really think he paid for first class?" Sarah's stomach twisted. She had served people from all walks of life in first class, but the way Ms. Parker said it made her uneasy. "But you didn't even check the system," Sarah pointed out. Ms. Parker waved a dismissive hand. "Trust me. I've been doing this a long time. I know when someone's in the wrong section. Then the intercom crackled. Miss Parker, please report to the cockpit immediately. The air shifted. It was rare for a flight attendant to be summoned to the cockpit mid-flight. Something was wrong. As she stepped inside, the captain turned to face her. On the in-flight phone screen was a man seated in a sleek office, his hands folded, his expression unreadable, but his presence alone sent a chill down her spine. Miss Parker, the man on the screen said. Do you know who I am? She swallowed. No, sir. The captain spoke. This is Mr. Thompson, the owner of this airline. Her breath hitched. You removed his son from first class, the captain continued, without verifying his ticket, without checking the system, without reason. The blood drained from her face. Mr. Thompson's voice remained calm, but his words carried weight. You're going to walk back to economy and personally return my son to his seat. A pause. Then, and when this flight lands, you will explain yourself to the executive board. Underscore 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 underscore. As she approached economy, she spotted him immediately. He was calm, quietly scrolling on his phone, not angry, not making a scene, just waiting. She cleared her throat. Sir, there's been a misunderstanding. I'd like to escort you back to your original seat. He blinked. A misunderstanding? She nodded quickly. Yes, there was an error in seating. He tilted his head. But I had my ticket. You saw it, and you still told me to move. Passengers exchanged glances. They had heard everything earlier. They knew he was right. I may have made a mistake in judgment, she admitted, but I'd like to correct it now. The boy studied her for a long moment. Then he reached for his phone. A second later, Miss Parker's work tablet vibrated with a message from the executive office. Take your time. Make her understand what she did. Her heart pounded. The boy stood up. I'll go back, he said. But I want to know, why did you think I didn't belong here? She had no answer. And in that silence, she finally understood what it meant to be judged. Let this story serve as a reminder. Our assumptions and actions have consequences. How we treat others, especially when no one is watching, matters. Lessons to learn from this story. 1. Never judge someone by their appearance. This story is a clear reminder that prejudice and snap judgments can lead to serious consequences. The flight attendant assumed the boy didn't belong in first class simply because of how he looked. However, the truth was quite the opposite. We should always verify facts rather than rely on personal biases. 2. Patience and composure can be powerful. Instead of reacting angrily or causing a scene, the boy handled the situation calmly, contacted his father, and waited for justice. His composure made the flight attendant realize her mistake in a much stronger way. This teaches us that sometimes silence and self-respect are more powerful than any loud protest. 3. Justice and fairness matter. The boy's father stood up for his son's rights in a firm but measured way. This sends a strong message. When faced with injustice, we should not simply accept it. We should take the right actions to reclaim our dignity and fairness. 4. Small decisions have big consequences. The flight attendant's decision, a seemingly small action based on personal bias, led to serious repercussions. This reminds us that every action, no matter how small, has an impact on others. We must always be mindful of our judgments to avoid unfairly hurting someone. This isn't just a story about a flight. It's a lesson about treating others with fairness and respect. It highlights the importance of overcoming bias, behaving appropriately, and knowing when to stand up for ourselves. At some point in life, we may all experience being judged unfairly. The real question is, how will we react? Will we lose our temper, ignore it, or handle it wisely? The boy in this story showed us that dignity and self-control can have a profound impact. If this story resonated with you and you love inspiring content, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Toch Story so you never miss a new video. Back in index pointing right, join the Toch Story community today and discover valuable life lessons through powerful real-life stories. If this story made you think, leave a comment below. What would you have done? Like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring stories.